Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities. Joining me at the desk, as always, Luther Dupree Jr., Smoking Jim Frazier, and my name is Claudio Relsano. Well, it looks like Mr. Canelo signed a 2-fight deal with DAZN for a ton of money. He signed for a fight on May 7th for WBA lightweight title, then September 17th against Triple G. Number one, Luther, do you like the idea that there's a fight set up in September? I mean, do you think he's going to lose his focus? And I don't want to call it a trap fight, but, shouldn't you be focused on this guy? Because this guy's nobody to play with.
Yeah, I mean, when you start scheduling 2 fights back to back, first of all, let me say, if there's 2 roads, a hard road and an easy road, Canelo's going to take the easy road. Nobody's calling for this Dimitri Bivol fight. He's going to run through this guy. Bivol doesn't have a lot of power at 175. And then he's fighting Triple G in September, who's going to be almost 50. He's about the same age. He's almost close to you guys' age.
I'm 57.
But listen, nobody wants to see these 2 fights. It's a disgusting display that what Canelo's doing. He had 2 guys. Everybody wants to see him and David Benavidez. Him and Jamal Charlo.
He said, I want them to fight first before they fight me.
See, that's another thing. And this is why the great Mexican boxers don't have a lot of respect for him. None of them ever said, well, I don't want to fight you guys. You guys fight each other and I'll fight the winner. What kind of mess is that? If you're at the top, you knock off all those guys in your division. You got undisputed at 168.
Right.
All these killers are there, so you run up and face not even the toughest guy. He didn't fight Arthur Beterbiev at 175.
Right.
He fought the weaker champion, and Dimitri Bivol. I'm very disappointed in this fight. Yes, Canelo's going to win. Then he's going to fight a grandpa. Triple G should be triple grandpa. He's old. He hasn't fought in 3 years. Nobody wants to see that fight, and now it's another pay-per-view. Nobody wants to see these fights. I will not be supporting this. He should have taken a tougher competition, not these 2 guys.
Smoking Jim, I know that's your boy.
Well, I love him, and I tell you what, he's fighting at one of the toughest guys in the sport.
Stop lying.
Bivol is outstanding. He got fast hands. He got good feet.
Where's his power? No power.
This is a guy that nobody really wants to face. I'm afraid for him.
Canelo does.
Because Canelo usually ends your career. Look what he did to Hatton, Sugar Shane Mosley, Austin.
Did you say Caleb Plant?
James, Kirkland, Cotto, Corn, Triple G.
Corn
and
just
Plant.
fought last weekend.
And Plant. You're never.
Corn just fought last weekend,
Yeah, he's
Jim.
not the same. You're not the same after you.
We haven't seen him fight.
Corn.
And I have to believe that Canelo's already talking about 3-4 fight deal, and Plant is yet to talk about a fight. I told you.
Plant was
he
just
gonna
talking
get
about fighting
punishment.
Jamal Charlo.
Where's the signed date?
There's no signed
where's
date.
the signed
They're
date?
negotiating.
We got 2 signed dates here.
Okay.
We got 2
He
signed
got
dates
knocked
here.
out. There's a certain. You have to have a certain period.
Not when you get knocked out like that. Not when you quit like that.
He got knocked out. Who quit?
Referee safety.
Who
for
quit?
Really getting knocked
Who
out.
quit? The referee stopped him.
Yeah, he did. He said
Oh,
the look in
Jim,
his
come
eye.
on. You were calling for this fight. When we were talking about potential fights, this is not one of the ones I heard you bring up. Yes or no?
Are you happy with these 2
Well, I
fights?
wanted him to fight the African at cruiserweight. That's what I really wanted.
I wanted that too,
A
Macabre.
real cherry pick. A real cherry pick.
But like I said, guys like Luther and all the Mexicans that don't like red-headed Mexicans.
No, they want.
Did you see a redhead when you was in Mexico? Did you see a redhead?
I wasn't
No.
looking at anybody's
That's why they
hair.
don't like
Listen,
Belly
He's a
button?
fighting-
or belly
belly
buttons,
button?
and there were redheads.
He's a fighting champion, and nobody likes
Nobody
him.
wants to see this fight.
He
Did
just-
you want to see this fight? You were
Yes,
No,
yes.
this is not one of the ones you named.
I was afraid of this fight.
I wanted, no, you weren't. I wanted Macabre, because I like him, or Beterbiev.
I wanted
he'll
Beterbiev,
kill.
Charlo, or
Benavidez.
He'll
Benavidez.
destroy
3 guys in the top 10.
Well,
Bivol is nowhere in the pound for
I
pound.
told you
Triple G hasn't fought in
I
3
was at the
years.
post office and they got the wanted poster for Charlo. Where you gonna fight him
What are you
at? The
talking
Fed?
about, Jim?
You still
That's
doing
fake
prison
news.
ministries?
Fake news, Jim.
Let me ask you a question. Who is tougher? Bivol, Macabre, or Charlo, or Benavidez?
This guy here.
It's
This
tougher
guy
than
here.
Beterbiev?
What's your memorable fights, Jim?
You understand my question?
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Who-
I fear when you go through the changes with Canelo, you're never the same. If I'm his people, I
gosh.
wouldn't fight him. I'd say, I wouldn't fight. I wouldn't have this Russian fight Canelo because he's never going to be the same. He's
Now,
going to be
I
he's
do-
going to be like Plant.
Nah, my plan. I
Plant's
do think
ready
it's
to
going to be a
fight
better
now.
people than fight than people think. I don't think it's going to be
Yeah.
a blowout.
Good point.
I think Bivol, he's very active. Canelo sometimes takes some time of the round off. That's when Bivol's trainer should say, hey, whenever he kind of slows up, go after him, okay?
This
I
guy
think it's
doesn't
gonna be tough.
move. He's going to be right there in front of Canelo just the way he likes him. Anybody with rhythmic
Accumulation of punches.
movement, it
Bivol.
gives him problems. That's why Plant was, I don't care what you say,
you're right.
Plant was giving him problems because he wasn't sitting there.
Right.
This Bivol's going to sit there and be
Do you
right there
give
for
do
him.
you
to
give
hit.
Canelo's people credit for saying, you know what, that guy gives us problems. This guy does not. Let's fight this guy. I'm just asking.
No, I don't. No, you're a boxer. I want you to fight
No,
the
no,
best.
but you blame his team?
I blame Canelo just like the other Mexican greats are blaming Canelo. I'm following their lead because he's not fighting the top competition.
Can Kirkland eat soul food yet after Canelo fight? This is a guy that had one fight. All these guys I mentioned, Canelo, they got either undefeated
Listen,
or one
when
fight,
I-
and they're never the same.
When I talk
after
about
they
a
go through the
great,
changes.
we don't have all these top fighters in the same age group that they didn't fight. Charlo, Benavidez, Demetrius Andrade.
They're only great
all
in
these
your
guys.
eyes.
They're undefeated. They're
they
undefeated
won't fight.
in the top.
They've called
won't
him out,
fight.
Jim.
But
They've
they won't
called-
fight.
They
All you
won't
got to
fight
do
who?
is fight.
They wanna fight 'em.
eventually. Listen,
Listen, they
Hearns,
go
Hagler,
into his
all them
press
guys
conference.
Continued to fight. When Sugar Ray went away for 4 years, they didn't stop fighting. Everybody kept fighting, man.
They're
You
still
just keep
fighting. They're still
No,
fighting.
where? When's the last time they fought?
Well, Plant hasn't fought. You're right. He's been talking about the Charlo fight.
Charlo
I
fight
understand
with
what
the
you're
police.
saying.
Get in the back of the car.
That case has been thrown out. You need to stop
Twice.
the foolishness. It's
Twice.
thrown
He
out.
got arrested twice
It's
in a
thrown
year.
out. Nothing's happening with it. They were thrown out.
According
It was
to
a
the
family
post office.
situation. Shouldn't even go under the police. Come on, Jim.
Do you think it's going to be a good fight?
No,
Bivol?
no.
Are you serious?
No, I think
Knockout,
Canelo stops him. He
unanimous
stops him.
decision?
He's going to stand or he's going to hit him with a couple
You know, your
body
reference
shots.
perfect now.
I'm perfect. You know?
Do you think it's going to be a
Perfection.
tough fight?
Well, he's perfect because he goes for the front runners and the
No,
favorites.
no.
He ain't picked underdog yet.
I have. I picked that guy,
I picked underdogs.
Gidry over Bryant, the shrimp guy. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Go
got
ahead.
one loss, but I'm the defending
No.
champ.
You don't have one.
We got to come up with like a little
Yeah.
plaque. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
But I forgot the question.
Do you think it's going to be a tough
CTE.
fight?
Oh, yeah,
for
well, it's going to be.
Just say no.
It's going
okay
to
to
be
say no.
similar to the Plant where
Oh, gosh.
Canelo just punishes the guy. I mean, the
Plant
thing
didn't get
that
punished.
was he hasn't fought since.
Neither,
Yeah, but I don't think it was
neither
because-
is Canelo.
Claudio always
Canelo
talks
hasn't
about
fought.
when you get beat, you jump right back on the horse. Plant
But,
ain't
yeah,
trying to jump
he
on
got that-
nobody's horse.
he got
man.
that money.
He probably in training right now, man, and he's probably walking like leather pants.
Chill, stop.
Other fans. I think the fans want to see him fight a Charlo or Benavidez, especially
Or
Benavidez.
Beterbiev.
Or better be.
Beterbiev.
Or better be. Yeah. But again, I'm going to say, and I know he's going to get mad when it comes to the business end of it, he's doing the right thing. Like, again, Triple G, nice name on your ledger for the, third time, but he's not in his prime. He's going to make a hell of a lot of money. He's going
fighting
to
a
get out of it
grandpa.
clean, okay? Again, you see these guys, I seen Hallfield, I seen Bo, I seen these guys, and, they're not as good as they were. And because they fought wars. Canelo saying,
They
I
fought
want
the
my
top
cake.
competition.
Yes, they did. Hearns, I want my cake and I want to eat it too. I want to have these nice names, accumulate these belts so you can take pictures with 96 belts, but I also have a ton of money and I have my faculties. That's his game plan,
He got
Luther.
almost 70 fights. These guys barely got 30 fights. And
Yeah, but those first
Listen,
X amount, 1 round,
That's
3
what
rounds.
we're going to go through his whole
I right?
resume, and we'll see
I just
of those
named,
70
I just
70
named
fights.
some guys.
Yeah,
I
you
just
named
Even
named
the
some
some
guys,
Mayweather
and
loss.
none of them were. None
Even
of them
the
were.
Mayweather
How many
loss.
Hall of Famers?
because
How many
they
Hall of
had to
Famers?
fight Canelo. They ain't been the same.
Oh,
They ain't been
Even
the same.
Luther, would you agree? Even the Mayweather loss, he didn't get the hell knocked out of him where
No,
he was battered.
he
Here-
just got
here's the
schooled and
example.
humiliated.
Here's one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, and Claudio don't think that much of him because he had to fight Muhammad Ali was Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier
No.
wasn't the same after 71.
I think
he wasn't
a lot
the
of
same.
them-
George,
He
I
wasn't
think
the
a lot
same
of
after
George
71.
Foreman got George
Right,
Foreman
he-
put a
That
beat
was
on him.
Right.
74.
George
From
Bateman put a beat
71
on
to 74, Joe Frazier wasn't the same. After
They
he
fought
beat Ali.
because that was the greatest
Yeah, he
era.
spent 3 months.
That was
in
the greatest
He spent
era.
3 months in the hospital.
Well, Ali,
same as
Ali
That was
Plant.
the
known
greatest
for
era.
speed, but Ali
Stop,
could
stop.
hit
There you
and
go
the
with that fake
accumulation
news.
of punches. And if you remember Frazier's face, I don't want to say it was deformed, but you could
Yeah,
see
deformed,
he knocked down. I mean, some people, I've said numerous times, a boxer has about 5 wars in him. But when you fought Ali 3 times, especially those couple where he got punished, and then what Foreman did to him, it took the steam out of him. Canelo has been smart. Name me one fight and it is. I don't think it's because of his greatness. I don't. He's damn good. Not saying that.
Top 5 of all time.
I
No,
don't
he's
say
not.
that.
No,
I don't
he's
say that.
nowhere near top 5.
I don't say that at all.
Only in your eyes.
Yeah, but you still
and
say
you don't have your glasses
He hasn't
on
been
enough.
punished, and I'm not going to criticize him for it, Luth. This is a business decision.
Listen,
He's going
I
to take a picture,
criticize him
Luther.
because he's getting all this hype.
Right.
And he's not.
Is that
giving
his fault,
the
though?
Yes, he's not giving the
It's
fans
his
the
fault.
best
The
fights.
Smoking Jim thinks he's top 5 all time.
Well, Jim, I don't. Jim thinks a whole lot of people
He's
are
going
top
to take a
5 that
picture.
shouldn't be there.
He's going to take a picture like this with a string of belts,
Listen,
all kind of weight
listen,
classes.
Listen, when you're a great champion,
You fight.
yeah, the Mexican superstars have talked about it. Even Oscar, who used to promote him, talks about him. He didn't want to take the tough fights, how hard it was to get him to do it. Listen, Canelo is a very good fighter, but he's not challenging himself. When he lost to Floyd, he tried to stay away from those type of fighters that could move, that had that rhythmic, movement.
He's staying away from the right people, though.
Well,
Luth,
Oscar
who may
Fighter better
expose
be-
him.
He
Who
goes
may-
up to 75, fights an old Kovalov, then he comes and takes Bivol instead of Better Beef.
Right.
I don't like that.
Well,
You get
Oscar-
undisputed and you don't fight the number 1 contender who lost the belt, David Benavidez.
Back in the day, Oscar moved Tapia into his house, so he made mistakes before. This ain't his first mistake.
Jim, I don't know where he comes up with this, but he's got a bug on somebody. Now, if he loses,
Who loses?
If Canelo loses to Bivol,
It's already set up
If.
for him. It's already set up for him to win. He got another fight in September.
I know.
Why are we
I
even
know,
doing this
I
fight?
know. Well, you know what? I mentioned last show about Paz Graham, Paz Rosenblatt. Well, okay, Paz Graham. I believe Graham is going to fight Eubanks, which was a big time fight over the UK, and they gave him the decision against Paz. When Vinny fought Rosenblatt, Vinny said he's going to fight next. I forget who he was going to fight. Maybe it was Jones Jr. I'm almost positive it was. And whoever the belt was, I knew who it was, but I'm not going to mention it. And he's going to say, well, hell, if you're not going to defend our belt, then the hell with you. You know what I'm saying? There are things like that. Am I wrong, Luke?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely
Again, Luther is right, but he's looking at it from the fans' lens. If you look at it from the
looking at it
business
for legacy
lens,
as well.
right? Yeah, but people are going to say they don't dig in as much as you are. Okay, and I agree with you. You know, when you look at the ledger, man, again, how many times we talk about Floyd and Evander? Look who they fought.
Exactly.
Look who they fought. Okay, maybe Evander lost some of them.
And
Look
we're going
at
to talk about who Canelo
11.
did not
11
fight.
of them.
That'll be.
That's why.
11 of them.
Well, but he didn't lose any bums, I don't think. I don't want to say bums, and we are going to do that as a topic. We'll debate that. But again, I would have liked to see him fight Beterbiev if you're going to move up. I'd like to see him fight Benavidez before he moves up. But maybe he's
worried.
smart, Luther.
I'm worried because
This is
if Bivol has some Gatorade in his corner,
And you
He's
were
not.
right.
He's not
You
a
were
big
right.
puncher up 175. Everybody knows this. This is.
Oh, let me
can't
ask you this,
excuse
Luther. You
man.
mentioned the word legacy. If he wins both, he beats Bivol and he beats Triple G, what does that do for his legacy to Luther's eyes?
Nothing.
And
to
then
me.
the other people's eyes. You
Nothing-
first.
Nothing to me because Bivol, he's not a Hall of Famer. Triple G's 50 years old, way past his prime. He's already beaten him once, maybe twice.
Right, yeah, right.
Nobody wants to see
How
this
about in
fight.
other people's eyes?
I don't think it does much. I don't think they should be calling for him to fight the better guys. Triple G a third time. Those first 2 fights weren't great enough to have a trilogy. That's not. I don't know.
Is the media giving him a pass?
Of course, they've been giving him a pass because he should be forced to fight these top guys. Spence and Crawford, they're catching heat for not fighting each other. Canelo should be catching heat for not fighting the 3 best in his era that are his age group.
To your credit, and I'm going to agree with you about something, because he criticized us. I know Canelo can't fight the number 1 guy every single time, the best guy. Once in a blue moon, fights somebody who's a little bit less, and they all did it. If he wins both of these fights, now you already got him already top 5 of all time. Pound for
Insane.
pound.
That's an
Where do you put him if he
insane
wins these 2 guys? And please don't say number 1 all time.
well, my neighbor got a redhead stepchild. He's an auto mechanic.
What is
He's a
it? You in
house
his hair?
painter.
Belly
He's
buttons,
a shovel.
hair.
Belly
He's a
button
snow
hair.
removal man. He's a landscaper. I mean, they just treat this kid bad, man. There's nothing
treating him
Canelo
bad?
can do in this
Canelo.
country, Canelo can do in this country. Listen, this is one of the greatest fighters
He's
I've
making
ever
money in
seen.
this
And I'm
country.
a boxing historian. Right now, if he wins these next 2 fights, he's already in the top 5. He may move up to 4. He
Why-
may move from 4 to 5.
In whose eyes? In your eyes?
It should be in everybody's eyes.
Are
If
you-
he was blonde and blue eyes, I tell you what,
Are you-
he'd be on every commercial.
Are you happy with his opponent?
He's even learning English.
He is. He is.
I told you all
Yes,
before
you
he knew
did,
English,
Luther.
and I gave you guys video.
You're right.
More
That's right. You don't
stuff.
just say something. I'll say this
I said-
about
Well,
you.
I'll
You
send
prove
it to you.
He learned English because he wanted to know what you black folks was calling him.
Coward Nello.
Are you happy? Are you happy with his ledger?
Oh, completely.
But
He
you're not happy
saved-
with
he-
Floyd's, though.
He carried
But you're not happy
boxing.
with Floyd. I didn't say he didn't.
Well, Floyd, he got 20 more fights than Floyd, and Floyd could be his daddy.
But look
Floyd's
at who
old
Floyd
enough
fought.
to be his
No, it's an
daddy.
all-star. Wait a
He
minute.
fought how many in
No,
Mexico?
but he fought guys.
How many in
where
Mexico
every
that we never heard
every
of?
weight class has 5 belts, and there's a champion every
But
4
he
or 5
fought. I mean, I
pounds.
forgot right now. We'll do
Yeah,
that. We'll
yeah,
mention.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he
I'm
fought
not
different
impressed.
styles.
I'm not
Oscar,
impressed.
Gaddy.
20
I'm not
champions,
impressed.
20 world
The
champions.
guy who was
how
a
many
tank.
Hall of
What was
And
Famers?
his
it'd be
name?
about 2 world champions if they only had 5 belts like they
Who
had.
was the guy who was like a tank and he
5
beat
weight
him?
classes.
Remember that guy? I
Yeah, I
forgot
know
his
you're
name.
talking about.
There was a couple guys who were
Gotti, all these
but
guys.
there was a guy who was
man.
like a big guy, a tank type guy, and Mayweather beat him.
Diego Corrales,
Oh
all
my
these
God, what
guys,
was his
man.
name? Yeah, Corrales.
Well,
all
he,
these
fought-
guys.
he handpicked. He had
Hey,
Stop.
hey,
Zach
hey,
Judah,
49.
you gotta be
Canelo,
honest.
and
He
he.
had 49
Ba-
fights. though.
What you said?
Balderall,
Balderall.
Balderall,
like-
yeah.
It wasn't like
There was
he.
enough.
It wasn't like he was. You know.
There was one
What,
guy
what,
he fought.
what?
Wasn't like he was very active. He fought.
And
he
he
fought
wait,
when
didn't
he
have to
fought
be.
guys later on. He fought guys that came after big time fights. And
I give him Arturo Gotti. I was surprised.
You better give him Canelo.
Luther, am I
What'd he do
wrong
with
in saying
Canelo?
this? After Mayweather would fight a guy after he had a big time fight, and the guy was hot. You know what I'm
Right,
trying to say?
right,
A lot of
exactly.
times.
He
I
would
just
fight the
think
top guys.
You
He
can't
won it
compare
all.
records.
He was a young guy calling out for the De La Hoyas and the Shane Mosley.
You can't.
And De La Hoya beat him. In
No,
my
he didn't.
opinion.
Okay, but at least he fought him.
Did he fight Sweet Pea? No.
Sweet Pea was on the way down.
Was
Oh,
on
he
his way
still
out.
would have beat him. He still
I
would've
just
beat him.
think records.
Undefeated.
I think I've said this on the show before.
Shane Mosley had him going like this.
He hit him with one shot.
Yeah,
And he didn't hit did he hit the ground?
He was
Did he hit
doing
the ground?
He was doing a
Did he hit the
hucklebuck.
ground? He got hit with a powerful right. All these excuses. You're a Canelo fanboy.
Hey,
Jim.
I've said this, and this is
Get
no
some help.
offense at all to Sean O'Grady, but he had a record of something like 81 and 2.
champ, the
Yeah,
champ.
his nickname is the Champ. Great career as a USA Network commentator. He was a champ, but if you look at his record, he fought guys 13, and I'm not ripping on him, please.
Irish guy.
13, 17, and 2.
Guys like
20
guys
and
Canelo
8.
has on his record.
28.
Those
But
guys
Evander-
in Mexico that Canelo fought, similar records.
What's
to
Evander's
that.
record, right? He lost 10, 11 fights.
Yeah, that's what
but
he
look
stayed.
who he
But yeah,
fought.
and he stayed
Did
way
he lose-
longer. Than,
what was Riddick Bowe? Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
What was
Riddick
Michael
Bowe's in the
Lennox
Hall of
Lewis.
Fame?
Yeah, he's in the Hall
yeah,
of Fame.
Lennox Lewis.
Wow.
Hall of Famer.
Hold it. Lennox Lewis, Michael Moore,
Michael Moore.
George.
Should be
I mean,
there.
he beat some boys. Larry Holmes. He fought. One thing you got to say about Evander Holyfield,
You can't say he ducked anybody
No,
in his era
no.
because he fought everybody.
No.
You know, and you're giving Canelo credit. All these guys in his era, undefeated
I'm saying-
fighters, he hasn't fought.
I'm saying Canelo's a good businessman.
He just fought a couple months ago. Holyfield.
Yeah. Well, but again, that's like
Come on,
saying
man.
that Trevor Berbick
That
beat
was an
Muhammad Ali.
exhibition.
Am
That
I
was an
right? That's like
exhibition.
saying Trevor Berbick beat Muhammad Ali. So what?
tried to erase that
let's
from
be
my
right about
memory.
that. Right. Well, again, you don't want to see this fight. Did you want to see this fight?
No.
Yeah, I was
Stop,
scared.
stop lying, Jay. You ain't want to see this. You
was
ain't want to
Both
see
of them,
Bivol.
Triple G too. The fans clamoring
Triple
for
G
it.
earned the right to get a trilogy.
Triple G hasn't fought since the pandemic
No,
hit.
no, he fought.
When?
Triple
Who?
G fought.
When he fight? Who?
We'd have to look it up.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't fought in
Has
over
he
2
fought?
years.
Has he
No.
I don't think so.
Boxing
Just like
authority.
Charlo.
Boxing
When we
authority.
come back, we're going to talk about a guy who is on the way up, a shooting star, high ranked. A lot of people were talking about him. Had a nice Showtime contract, and that's Chris Colbert. Had a big upset loss. When we come back on the Boxing Authorities. Welcome back to the Boxing Authorities. Okay, there was an upset. We had a couple upsets, but Chris Colbert, who was a rising star, colorful guy, comes in with the hair and the shorts and all that kind of stuff. Well, he didn't look too good. He should have got some ads on his feet.
On his back, on his feet, on his shoes.
He lost against
exactly.
a guy who was a last-minute replacement 3 weeks prior, I believe, in Hector Ryan Garcia. Shock.
Ooh, look at that. On his back. Look at
That was
his
a nice
robe.
left.
Robe all the way up. Looked like a dress. You know, the guy knocked him out so hard the dress flew up over him. Listen, Chris Colbert, you know, comes in there looking like a science project. Blue hair. He got the Skittles
Science
robe.
project.
He had a robe, Skittles robe with a big chicken on the back of it. He does primetime chicken or whatever, and he fought just like a chicken.
That's his restaurant.
That's his
Paulie
restaurant.
Malignaggi has money in it. See, I'm giving
Yeah.
you some backstory, like Jim.
That's his restaurant, but he fought like a chicken. This guy just punished him. Hector Garcia, you know, guy has no power. Chris Colbert, he runs his mouth. He talks a lot, but he has no bite. He's one of those guys. He was talking about Wilder. He got hit with the Wilder curse, just like Teofimo Lopez did. He was talking about Spence. He was going back and forth with Shakur Stevenson, and he got exposed. 16 wins. He only has 6 knockouts. He has no power. Why was he trying to stand toe-to-toe with a power puncher? He fought the wrong game plan. He's flat-footed. He comes in there. Yes, he was representing autism. I respect that. But he fought like he was autistic in there. No game plan whatsoever. You know, you're going to stand in front of a guy who hits like that. You got blue hair.
If you're gonna do that, you
before
gotta
the fight, he was doing the electric slide. I knew right from there. I said, "Oh man, I'm gonna lose this fight." He was doing the electric slide in the locker room. He said he didn't watch film on this guy. He didn't take this guy seriously, and he got exposed. He's after the fight asking for a rematch. Get him out of here. You know, he had no business being in the top. I was never impressed with this guy. More talk, no bite.
2 questions I'm going to ask you in a minute, but your thoughts on this fight.
Well, I know, seeing this clown, I know Luther's a little disappointed in his people. Look, man, this guy, like Luther
ain't
said,
my people.
it's his. I blame his corner more than I blame
Excellent.
him.
That was gonna
because
bring that
they got Ryan Garcia on short
It's
notice.
Hector Garcia.
Or Hector
Ryan
Garcia
Hector
probably would've
Ryan, I
beat
call
him.
him his middle name.
Ryan would have destroyed him.
And his corner told him basically, this guy's going to gas out, put pressure on him. And like Luther said, he has no power. Garcia had no respect for him. You know, most Mexican fighters believe that black fighters can't take it to the body and don't have no heart. And Chris Colbert proved him right again. And
Good point
that was
about
his
the
fight.
trend. Let me ask you, since you mentioned that, his promoters, his management team picked the wrong guy. But like Luther said, he fought the wrong fight. Isn't that your job as a coach, as a trainer, to say, hey, wait a minute, our game plan was wrong, let's adjust? How come they didn't do that, Jim?
Well,
We
they
see it a
probably-
lot of times.
They probably had a young Emmanuel Stewart as his trainer.
It's obvious you didn't see the fight. You didn't see the fight, Jim.
Yeah, I watched the whole
you,
thing.
You didn't have your glasses on. But the corner kept telling him, you're doing good. He's going to get tired. That's all they kept telling him. And at the beginning of the fight, he was standing up
That's
on
what
the
I
ropes.
said.
And then afterwards, he sat in that stool. Listen, the last 2 rounds, he knew he was losing, and he ran. He ran those last 2 rounds. He didn't win the
Moving's
fight.
one thing,
He
running's
didn't
another.
He didn't want to get
knocked
knocked
out,
out.
Let me ask you a question, though. If I'm your trainer, and I'm telling you, and it's, whatever it is that I'm telling you isn't working, you're the one who's getting punched. Aren't you going to say, hey, wait a minute, he ain't getting gassed. I'm feeling his hits. Don't you take it upon yourself?
You would, but that was their game plan.
I know, but wouldn't you change it?
You would think so, but I told you his boxing IQ is very low.
But if you're getting punched.
You know, I don't know if the dye that he's putting in his hair is getting into his brain and he's not figuring it out, but his boxing IQ is low. This guy has power. He had a lot of amateur fights.
Yeah.
He's undefeated, a lot of knockouts, and you're going to stand toe-to-toe, and you know you can't bust a grape?
Do you blame his management team, like Jim said, for scheduling this guy?
Well, it was a last-minute replacement.
Fight somebody else.
Listen, if he would have fought the regular fight, moving, sticking and
Southpaw.
moving, he would have been better off. But he tried to get in there and go toe-to-toe, and it blew up. He's not very good.
Let me
He
ask
was
you-
all hype.
Yeah, apparently. Let me ask you guys a question again. I've said this numerous times. How can you overlook an opponent as a boxer? Because you're like in other sports, you know, okay, you ain't gonna get busted up. But that guy's trying to hit you, Jim. How can you overlook a guy?
Well, it's very easy when you got a video vixen. When you're going to clubs, you're running around for your food truck and your chicken farm and everything else. Hey, listen.
You ain't that great to overlook
You ain't
people.
that great. you start
In his
getting
mind,
around.
he is.
You start getting around your posse. The one thing
Posse.
Muhammad Ali told somebody, I can't think of who he told this to, but he told it to Magic Johnson. Muhammad Ali told Magic Johnson, the mistake I made was I had a big entourage and I was paying them all.
TMZ.
Just get you one person. And that's why Magic got money today.
He
said,
told-
just
what'd he
get
tell
one-
Magic?
He told
Did
Magic,
Magic
just
listen?
get one person. Yeah, look, Magic is rich,
He
and he
is.
learned that because listen, you get a bunch of people that's telling you, hey, dye your hair blue, same color as the referee's gloves. You know what I mean? They won't see the punches coming, but he looked like a clown out there. I was very embarrassed.
If you back it up, you look great. If you don't, you look bad. But let me ask you this. Sometimes a loss is good for a fighter or for a football team. They wake up. Do you think this is a good loss for him? And where does he go from here?
No, he's calling for a rematch. This guy's all wrong for him. The guy knows he can put him down. I think Colbert, he needs to focus on his primetime chicken or whatever he has going on. Boxing's not it. He has no power. He's very flat-footed. And I don't think he takes the sport, he doesn't respect the sport enough. He's going to get hurt when he fights,
That's what I'm trying to say,
fights
Luther.
somebody
How
else.
can you not take it serious when somebody's trying to punch you in the head?
Yeah, you would think so. But these guys,
Everybody
made a couple
turning
money.
into Wilder. You're all turning into
No,
Wilder.
you're not going to disrespect Wilder.
Was-
Wilder's done great for
When's it-
himself.
when's he
It doesn't
retired?
matter. He
I
can
can
retire
talk
if he
about
wants to.
retirement,
He did his
He
thing,
can
though.
retire
He
if
did his
wants to.
thing. He did his
He's
thing,
35
Wilder.
Yeah, he
years
ain't wanna fight
old,
in 3
40 and
years.
0.
He ain't
If
wanna
he
fight in 3
retires-
years.
How many knockouts?
Huh? He ain't want to fight
Highest
in 3
knockout.
years.
Highest
Who's
knockout
had the career,
percentage.
though? Waters had a hell of a lot better career than Chris Colbert, though.
Well, Colbert
Jim,
probably got
you're
more
not going to
money.
come to this segment and slander
Colbert's
Wilder.
gonna end up
He had a
with more
great
money.
Hall of Fame career, and you're not going to slander him. That's where I'm at, Jim.
Was a loss good for him?
For Colbert?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very good for him.
it wake him up?
Maybe it's time for him to get on with his life's work.
Oh, Chuck, no.
Get to that chicken restaurant.
Well, again, they had him as the next star.
Ever see a
Showtime.
chicken die of old age?
That's good.
Good business to get into, bro.
Well, again, I think it's after the fight was over. Again, I've said this numerous times. After Anthony Joshua lost, Luther sent me a text.
Anthony
Which
was
means
happy.
he was hugging the guy.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
Colbert was hugging him.
He was
but
hurt.
but he said, you know what? I give him his credit. I'm no excuses. He was better. But I'm gonna learn from this. And I did like his
That guy's
attitude.
not giving him a rematch. He's going
No.
he's going for a title shot.
Right.
I wouldn't give that Colbert.
He's
a
going to get the
rematch.
title shot
That Colbert was all
Right,
set up
right,
for.
right.
It was all set up for him to beat this guy and get a title shot. He blew it.
Were you okay with his
Line,
response?
doing
I didn't pay
electric
attention
slide
to
in the
that.
locker room.
Okay. Do you think he's going to do electric slide next time?
I bet he won't. I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
He should be focused. Maybe he'll have his hair a normal color.
Right.
Maybe he'll come in some regular shorts. Won't come in there with a chicken on his robe. I mean, he didn't.
When
it
Charlo
was
lost
horrible.
to what was his name? Was it Thompson?
Tony Harrison.
Tony Harrison. The next fight, okay, when he walked into the ring, I said he ain't losing this fight.
He was
'Cause
focused.
he was focused.
Hey,
You can see.
Well, he did lose all the press conferences before that. Tony Harrison
Yeah.
talked all
mess.
around him,
Right.
but in the ring, and
He
Tony
was-
Harrison was doing okay.
Yes, he
until
was
he
like-
started getting too comfortable,
Exactly.
stretching out, and then he
Exactly.
got caught.
He got
You
stretched
can't do
out,
that
right.
with the Iron Man
Is there anything
Charlo.
we get the Charlo family back together? The brothers hate each other.
They do not.
They're going to fight each other, right?
They just fight, Jim, just like brothers. We know you.
Me and my
we know,
brothers
we
never
know
had an
y'all.
argument.
I know your brothers fight with you all the time. Y'all close, y'all fight, and then y'all close. That's how it works, Jim.
Well, I think he will. If he's smart, which I think he is, he's going to learn a lesson from this.
He doesn't
and
have it,
go back to the
Claudio.
blackboard.
He does not have it.
He's not a knockout guy, and let me ask you this, Luther: you can kind of get away with some mistakes if you got a big punch,
Right.
Wilder, Tyson, Marciano, Foreman, anybody with a
Canelo.
anybody with a big punch, maybe you can get away with some stuff and then land the haymaker.
Yeah,
and say,
but when
man,
you when you
when
don't
you're-
have it-
when you're a boxer that's more of a point guy, you can't afford to give up rounds. You can't afford to not stay on your game.
Exactly. I was disappointed the way he ended that fight. You knew you needed a knockout, and instead of trying to get it, you run for the last 6 minutes.
Love
run.
movers, don't like runners.
Run. You got to go in there. I would have respected him more if he went in there and tried to get a knockout. Hey, if you get knocked out, at least you went out
Maybe
on
he
your
should go
shield.
train with Mayweather because Mayweather wasn't a big puncher, but he had a successful career.
He moves
maybe
well.
Maybe Mayweather can help this guy.
Did we see Jersey Joe in the last
that
episode?
footwork,
He did.
man,
he
that
did not
footwork.
run. He moved upper body,
Yeah.
lower body, duck, and that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And
There was only one Jersey Joe. Though.
Oh yeah.
Only one Jersey.
But again, he has to go to the drawing board and say, man, I shouldn't have done this. And his team, I blame a lot of it on his team.
He
I
got
really do.
to
like you said, what did they keep
to,
saying?
He has to humble himself.
Right.
He was out there
You're doing
talking
great.
like
No,
he
you're
was
not.
great.
He's gonna run out of steam. No,
Shakur
you're not.
Stevenson gets a victory. He slander him all. I would have knocked out Herring.
talk
I would have
about
done
him,
this.
right.
And you
Yeah.
come
No,
your
no,
next
no,
fight
no,
and you
no.
get dropped.
You got to get away from that, young
Yes, ma'am.
Emmanuel Stewart corner philosophy. That would get you
He
killed.
didn't have a Stewart in his corner.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that
What
philosophy.
style?
That
What?
style philosophy. Yeah.
Well,
work-
I think he's
works
got to
for Floyd.
reevaluate
It's
his
working for
career.
Fury.
He's still young.
Is it working for Fury?
He's still young enough, Luther. He's still young enough. He can fix it. It's like he's old. So hopefully he
I
learns
think
something.
he's done.
After one loss,
I don't think he had it. He doesn't have the power. It's not
he fights the right
dedicated.
people.
He was fighting the right people up until this guy.
Right, yeah.
And
Hopefully he learns
I'm not a fan.
Probably cost him a
he's-
lot of money, that loss.
Oh, yeah, there's no question it costs a lot of money.
But he slandered a lot of people going up to this fight, and he messed.
Didn't
He
back it
talked
up.
about his fan base, and
Right.
he got exposed.
Well, when we come back, fantasy fight. Canelo versus the Raging Bull, Jake LaMotta. Right back with the boxing authorities. Welcome back to the Boxing Authorities fantasy fight. This is a good one, fellas. Jake, the Raging Bull LaMotta, against Mr. Canelo, your boy, Canelo Alvarez. Luther, we're going to start with you. Your thoughts on that fight, the fight itself, the styles, and eventually, who do you think wins?
All right, listen, Jake LaMotta. You said the Raging Bull, the Bronx Bull. 89 wins. Wasn't the biggest puncher, but he would get in there and slug, a swarmer type.
Accumulation.
Accumulation type of guy, rough fighter. We know he would fight Canelo, but I think Canelo would be like, you fought Sugar Ray 6 times, you need to fight him 8 times before you fight me. So I don't know if this fight would ever happen because he would look for a way not to fight this guy. He had a great chin, he would roll with the punches. I say Jake LaMotta beats Canelo Alvarez if they would ever fight, because Canelo would be making excuses saying
Fight
you need to
Sugar
fight
Ray
this
again.
guy, fight Sugar Ray, fight Archie Moore, fight this guy,
Archie
and then
Moore.
I'll fight the winner once you guys beat each other up. I got Jake LaMotta. I love his heart. I love his chin. I love just his rough style. Canelo,
mentality.
His mentality. He was a fighter. He wasn't ducking tough competition. Think
No.
about it. He fought Sugar Ray Robinson, probably the greatest fighter. Multiple
Like
times.
3 weeks after one
Multiple
time.
times. He wasn't looking for a Triple G who's 50 on his way to retirement. He would have fought the Benavidez. He
Oh,
would have
yeah.
fought the Charlos and the Demetrius Andrades. He would have fought the tough competition, unlike what we're seeing now from Canelo Alvarez, who's doing everything to cherry pick and tell guys they got to fight each other. And then once you beat each other up, I'll fight the guy at the end.
Imagine
Jake LaMotta all day over Canelo.
Imagine Canelo fighting Benavidez, right? Then 3 weeks later, fighting him again. Now, Sugar Ray was nothing to mess with, arguably the greatest fighter of all time, and Jake got hit. Jake felt his punches. Jake felt his speed. Fought him like 3 weeks later. Fought him, 6 times? Jim, your thoughts on this fight?
Well, I got to disagree a little bit with Luther.
Because you're a Canelo fanboy.
Luther
You're a
said
fanboy.
Luther said some great things, but Jake LaMotta was a devastating puncher. The knockout records didn't
He wasn't a
reflect
big
it back
puncher. He
then
had
because
19
the knockout records didn't reflect
30
'cause
KOs
these guys
out of 83?
these guys didn't go out. You had to hit him with a 2x4, and you still couldn't knock some of these guys out. Listen, Jake LaMotta was a guy that never been knocked off his feet. He never been knocked down. He was tough. This was a guy that wouldn't even sleep with his wife until he won the heavyweight.
Oh, here you go.
the
You always
championship
got to
of the
bring
world.
somebody's wife
You know
into
what I
this.
mean? These guys
I don't
was
care.
dedicated.
Most of these, don't they say you're not supposed to be
This is
with
bad
your
for
wife?
your
What are you
legs.
talking about?
These-
You're not I thought that was routine, Claudio.
he's
Maybe
never-
I'm wrong.
Right, that's the old
He never slept
Oh,
with
that's
anybody
about it.
until
Canelo,
he
look
won
at-
that
look at
championship.
that.
for
Canalo's
years.
feasted off of some tomato can.
Look, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
come on,
yeah.
man. Kovala, come on.
That's a Hall of Famer right there.
But not when he fought him, though.
No, that was an old, beat-down version of
Yeah, you got
Kovala.
135 pounds.
Look at
moving
that.
up.
God
Oh,
got
is
his
that
face.
Kirkland?
That's your
God
boy
got his
Kirkland?
face wide open.
Is that Kirkland? Oh,
Well,
he
he
looking
wanted
like
to get
he
hit,
looking
Luther.
like
Grab your
Wilder.
guard.
He looking
Grab
like
your
Wilder.
guard. Oh.
Luther, he wanted to get hit.
Look at this guard. Look, 2 hands down. He don't have any guard. Look at that. He's feasting off
You see that
a
long
lot
punch,
of.
Luth?
Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't going to. It took him a week to throw that. I mean,
My
Kirkland.
goodness.
Look at this. Oh,
But
yeah.
I think this fight.
Oh, this
Feels like
corn.
Evel Knievel
No.
after the Caesars
Listen, why don't people talk about Canelo bringing up Corn 2 weight classes up to fight him?
Look at that left just stand there.
No, D. Man, Claudio, I think I could knock out some of these guys if they just leave me their face. Look at the snot hanging out.
I
Wow.
like them trunks Cohen got on though.
I thought he died when I saw his eyes open, man. Look at who leaves their face open like that. He didn't learn. He was doing that his whole career.
He did it last week.
Last week against Brook, leaving his face
But
wide open.
I can say this. I think the fight would have been at Madison Square Garden between Jake
Canelo wouldn't have fought him.
LaMotta and Canelo would have been at Madison
without
Square
question.
Garden. I can go on record as saying the late great Jake LaMotta didn't like redheads either. So
Oh, there you go.
he might have went and tried to punish you. But I think that Cream always rises to the top.
No way. No way.
The closest thing to Canelo was Sugar Ray Robinson.
Oh,
And
my-
Sugar Ray
stop,
Robinson
stop,
beat
Jim.
him 5 out of 6 times. And so I think that
He
I would
fights
have to favor
nothing like
Canelo.
Sugar Ray
over
Robinson.
Jake.
What?
Well,
Yeah.
here's why I think that's wrong. And here's I think Canelo is known for taking some rounds off. Not rounds off, taking some minutes off of the round. Jake was known for what? Exact
Fight.
opposite.
Yeah,
He
fight
fought
the
every
whole round,
single
all 3
second.
minutes,
The
yeah.
Raging Bull. He never stopped. In my opinion, as soon as Canelo would take those 10, 20 seconds off, 30 seconds, which is a lot in a round, that's when Jake, and you can't knock Jake down.
No.
I mean, you
Great
couldn't
chin,
hit him
great
to the
chin.
body. You couldn't hit him to the head. Sugar Ray Robinson, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, beat the hell.
Yeah.
And what did he do? It's in the movie, and it wasn't exaggerated. He told him, come on. And Sugar Ray blasted him and blasted him. And what was the famous line afterwards? I never went down, Ray. Like, he was proud of the fact that he let Sugar just beat the hell out of him. It was, could Canelo,
tough.
was he better than Sugar Ray? I don't think so. And
No,
look what
not
he did.
even close.
And again, there was no in between rest and all that kind of stuff. Months off. I think Canelo loses to Jake, not just because he's Italian. I'm not trying to crowbar, but I think he. And the thing about Jake was what he just didn't throw headshots, the body shots. That's
everything.
Canelo,
Yeah.
but not as many. I would like to. I don't know if they had punch stats back then, Luther and Jim. But can you imagine all the punches that Jake LaMotta threw while getting hit?
Yeah.
Okay, this is why I think the punch comparison would be night and day.
There's no comparison.
Am I right or wrong?
You know, no comparison. LaMotta would destroy Canelo.
Well, there's definitely.
And I know you're a Jake fan, though.
I love Jake LaMotta.
But he's a
He-
Canelo
And he was-
fanboy,
Well,
so there's a difference.
Jake LaMotta had the prettier wife. She posed for Playboy.
Yes, she
was
did.
Beautiful.
Yes, she did. Luther, let me. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let me ask you a question, Luther. We touched on it a little bit. I think Jake, and this is a compliment. He had the mentality. He was crazy in that
Yeah,
ring.
yeah.
Do you see that kind of that fierce, animalism? And I'm going to kill you, like a Roberto Duran. He maybe have been the last guy. Tyson in his prime had that. Great finishers. Sugar Ray had the smile, but man, he had that great finish.
Exactly.
Jake was a great finisher.
And that's the thing. Nobody's
Mentality.
Fighting, nobody's fighting Canelo like that. These guys go in there like Caleb Smith, just holding, not throwing any punches. Corn leaving his face wide open.
Hit me.
Kirkland leaving his face
Did you ever
wide
see
open.
Canelo with
scared.
that thing
He goes
ever?
when he throws to the body.
But did
Yeah,
you ever
he
see
does, he
Canelo
does.
with that fierceness and I'm just going to run over you?
No, nobody had it like the Raging Bull. Nobody had it.
Didn't
And
Jake
it-
fix a fight?
Well, he lost against Fox.
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He-
I mean, he let that guy pound it. They said, Jake,
So
at
what are you
least
saying?
act like
Canelo
he's
fixed a
hurt.
couple fights?
No, I'm just
Oh,
saying.
okay.
I'm just
And he
saying.
admitted it.
We don't know.
admitted it.
We don't know. We don't know if.
That Kovalov knockout seems that looked kind of
But
weird
the funny
to me.
thing about that Fox fight, and they mentioned this in the movie, but he was hitting him, and Jake's, and then his brother said, Jake, all you had to do was go down. But Jake wouldn't go down.
he wouldn't go
He had that pride. He was not going to go down. Never took a step back, as you like to say.
Did he ever start speaking to his brother again?
That's a good. He beat the hell out of his brother, but I don't know about that. I think they did, but I don't know. It wasn't the same. Just he's into the Charlo
Jim,
brothers and the
he-
Lamont
he was
brothers.
just brothers.
wondered.
That's how you know him and his brothers go at it.
Hey, one
we
thing
did
I
that
forgot to
argument.
mention.
Y'all go at it.
Luther reminded me. Thank you, Luther. Before we go to our popular segment, the mailbag. But I think we both say that Jake would win. Did you say Canelo or Jake?
Oh, Canelo.
He's a fanboy. Of course he sees Canelo.
All right. Now there's talk. Kell Brook versus Conor Ben. Would you like to see it?
It's another name for Conor Ben, but it's time for him to step up past
Would
these
you
guys
say
past their
this?
prime.
Would you say this? One's going up, one's going down.
I mean, Kell Brook, he just destroyed Amir Khan. Like I told you guys were wrong again on your prediction. I told you that was going to happen. But Conor Ben stops Kell Brook. Unlike Khan, he's going to focus on the eye sockets and get him out of there. I don't know
knows
what
the
Khan
weakness.
was doing. He's going to go after the weakness, and I like Conor Ben's style, but I'm ready for him to move it out. Kell Brook is a nice
This is not a
name.
move up?
Yeah,
More than he has
It's
been,
more
though.
than he has been.
And it's a
but
name. You know that in boxing history,
but Kell
they do
Brook
that.
is not a top 10 guy. I want him to fight one of those guys. Jump into that top 10.
Nice
in
name
that
on your ledger,
147.
though.
It's a nice name.
Nice
and it's huge
money.
over in the UK. So
Nice money.
Yeah, I agree with Lou that
about time.
Ben will finally retire Brooks.
Retire Brook. Okay. Yeah.
I like Ben.
I'm with you. Again, we said after he beat Khan, nice fight, congratulations, go cash that check, but stay in your lane. I think it's the thing that happens in boxing for centuries, right? The young buck coming up and the old guy who had a nice name.
Pass the torch.
Pass the torch.
Pass the
But
torch.
in boxing, you pass it, you get hit with the torch.
Yeah.
Brian Cook just talked to Monty Mesa Clay, and he said he has a fight scheduled for this year. He
Stop.
serious?
40,
What?
yeah.
Marty Mason Clay,
Yeah, got a
I didn't know
fight
that.
scheduled.
He's
a
ranking
Pittsburgh-
legend.
He's a Pittsburgh legend.
the man who
It's
put
It's
ranking
in
on
your
the
blood.
map.
It's
Who's
when
he
it's
going to
in your
fight?
blood.
Not
Wait,
a big
not
name.
Jim.
who.
What?
Yeah,
He's still no.
I just got the.
I thought he was retired.
That's what I thought too.
But you don't know the
he's
level.
fighting this year. yeah.
Really?
That's what he
good
told
for
me.
him.
We
We'll
got to
definitely
pack the
cover
house
it.
wherever it is. We're there.
We're there, and
Monty
we'll have him
Mason
on the
Clay,
show.
a great-
Monty May's a great guy who's had a nice career, but we'll see what happens there. All right. Well, our popular segment, Jim's breaking news. Boxing mailbag at yahoo.com. Continue to send your great comments and questions on that email. And to me, ClaudioRelsano.com. Thank you very much. You guys are part of the show. Okay, all three. Punch Doctor from Sacramento, California.
Doctor,
Yes,
heck of
sir.
a name.
I am new to training boxers. Do you suggest training my fighter to be more pleasing to the promoters / fans' eyes, or just let him be who he is? Luther Dupree.
I say you got to let him be who it is, because a lot of people try to change these fighters. Let him be who he is. Hopefully it's pleasing to the fans, but if he's a boxer, let him box. Don't try to turn him into a brawler like Colbert did. You know, be who you are. That's your best way to success. There's plenty of ways to become fan favorites. We've seen brawlers. We've seen
Right.
knockout artists.
Jim?
Just win, baby. Just win.
Just win.
I'm
Al
with
Davis.
You don't make a slugger into a stolen base threat. You don't make a stolen base threat into a slugger. Now, if you have a
Right.
guy like Ricky Henderson who can do both, then we got something. That's why he is Barry Bonds. That's why who they are. Rocky Graziano, I think his final words before he passed told his daughter, "Let people be who they are. Let your boxer be who he is." All right, great question here, and I can't wait for Luther to hear this. All three. Tommy from Connecticut. Do you think trainers today are more focused on the training or less on or making them better fighters? In other words, do you think they're into these, like the rope and all that crazy stuff, or making him a better fighter?
Yeah, I think this analytical stuff. I think
Right.
they're doing a lot of things that they don't need to do. You know,
Waste of
just
time.
like all these other sports, analytics have ruined sports. I like the old school training, the road work, really getting there doing it.
Get your
now
hands
there's
in the
ropes
soil.
and all these other things. Lomachenko has this thing where he's doing with the. No, I need the old school trainers. I love the road work and getting in there and doing that ground work.
Well, all these mama's boys today, they won't listen. They won't listen to their trainer, so they got to do something to get them fit. I let them swim if they want to swim, play basketball if they want to play basketball.
You'd be a terrible trainer.
Anything to get fit, because they're not going to listen. They're not going to listen. Their mama's
They may
boys
not listen
today.
to you because you're a bad trainer, but a good trainer is going to have his guys listening or kick them to the curb.
I think it's guys trying
Yeah.
to be.
Just
Like
like,
Chris
Ryan,
Colbert.
just
Yeah,
like
like Chris
Ryan,
Colbert.
Ryan Garcia just left Eddie Reynoso.
Yeah,
I
I,
like
think these
Brian
guys, and I
Garcia.
think you'll agree, they try to be cute with this. And just go back to hitting the heavy bag and run.
I can't believe
and-
Ryan Garcia left all that Canelo meat in that Valdez tea.
Last comment here. Ron from Dallas. I am not a boxing fan, but I really enjoy your show. Because of you guys, I'm now getting into boxing. Ron from Dallas, thank you
Thanks,
very
Ron.
much. We appreciate you, and we appreciate all of you. And as always, I'm taking my glasses off. As always, we hope you enjoy our show as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. Thank you for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities.